Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. All right. So, with the talent that the Houston Rockets have, the range from what they could do, what they should be expected to be able to accomplish, should be very wide. Very wide. They could win anywhere from 20 games to the championship. And I'm not kidding. Like, when I say the championship, I mean like actually hoisting the trophy. They have a coach who got his team to the finals in his rookie year. Now, granted, he had very experienced talent. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, you know the guys. They all got, plenty of success under their belts in the Eastern Conference before he came along. They had developed together, all of that. So that is not what he's going to be necessarily inheriting here with the Houston Rockets. But the thing about it is, from top to bottom, they legitimately have as much natural ability and athleticism as any team in the NBA, from top to bottom. Now that they've picked up Cam Whitmore and Amen Thompson on top of what it is that they already had, which is a bunch of top level lottery picks. I mean, if you look at their starting lineup, everybody in that starting lineup has all-star upside. Amen Thompson, Jalen Green, uh, Cam Whitmore, Jabari Smith, and Alperen Sengun. I could argue all of these dudes are projected to be ridiculously good. And then you look at Porter coming off the bench. I don't know what they're going to do with his value. Maybe they trade him. But then the plethora of other kids, Tate, uh, you know, Christopher, Ty Washington. Uh, it just goes on forever. Garuba, uh, Martin. It literally goes on forever, you guys. I'm not even kidding. There's more names I haven't even thought of. Terry Eason, who's another player that has way upside. It's just one of those situations where you look at the Houston Rockets and you can legitimately say, I'm not certain if they're not either the worst team in the NBA because all these kids don't know what they're doing, or the best team in the NBA because they legitimately should be able to overpower people with their natural ability and talent and size and gifts. I mean, there's a lot of teams are trying to do a lot of things to put together a lot of talent. What the Houston Rockets have stumbled into is that talent, is essentially what I'm saying. Now, it might be very early, and they may not be able to develop into what it is they potentially could be because they are playing with one another. But if they happen to just develop nicely into what it is these guys are supposed to be, each and every one of them, they're the best team in the league. Simply put, because they've put together something that has that type of quality by getting the first pick, second pick, first pick, second pick, and then obviously getting Thompson, not Thompson, but Whitmore rather, at the 20th pick, and in situations where Sengun has overachieved and developed better than they thought. Green and his natural ability, which is he's like a different type of beast as well when he fully develops. So it's like, all right, I don't know if anybody sees what's coming in regards to this Houston Rockets team, but I do. And the thing about it is, I just don't know if there's enough basketballs for all of these guys. There's a lot of Chiefs. You got guys who really legitimately need 30 and 40 minutes who are going to average like 15 minutes on this team. So what's best for them, in my humble opinion, is to trade some of those guys. I don't know which ones they're going to have to choose to get rid of, but they're going to be able to get ridiculous returns for the upside of these players if they value them properly. So in my mind, that should be the interest. You try to figure out how best to grab as many of them as you know you're going to be able to keep in rotation, get an established bench going, and then try to do your best to get value for each and every one of these kids. Maybe they spend the whole year trying to feature different ones, you know what I mean? Rather than trying to make the playoffs necessarily, they just try to okay, I'm taking the first week of the schedule to get all these guys into a position to understand what the idea would be, and then from there we're going to use different units to showcase different kids. And throughout the course of the season, everybody's going to get their 8 or 9 games to just showcase what they do, because otherwise you're not going to be able to find what you actually have. You're going to lean on the ones who step forward, and the ones who don't are going to lose confidence. It doesn't work, and it's unnecessary because you need to keep their value up so you can trade them for what they're worth so you can stay as good as you are. If you don't, you're going to see their value decreasing, and we talk about it all the time, so on and so forth. It just makes for a lesser situation when you're trading away guys for half the price because you couldn't showcase them properly. So that's going to be the key for the Rockets. because Ime Udoka's going to find a rotation that he likes, but at the end of the day, it's just going to be so much talent that's not going to get their minutes, and these are young kids that need to develop. So I would trade them before finding out if they're anything less than what they are. A guy like Cam Whitmore, if you're not certain you're going to be able to use him, you should probably get rid of him before he proves that he's otherwise what we think he may be. Alperen Sengun, not letting him go. Amen Thompson, obviously you're not letting him go. But Deshaun Tate, I think that's a player that you would rather not get rid of, but in this situation needs to be somewhere else. Because Terry Eason and Cam Whitmore, that's all you need is small forward. You don't need nothing else there. And then Jabari Smith, that kid, if he's going to develop properly, he needs his minutes. You know what I mean? So it's like that's going to be a situation where their front court's going to get a bit crowded. And that's going to be the thing. I don't know if they're going to be able to get the most out of everybody. And now they're talking about trying to add another power forward to that situation at Rui Hachimura, which I know they're not going to be able to get because the Lakers are going to match him. Austin Reeves, I doubt it, unless Austin just wants to be in Houston. But I doubt it. The Lakers, he's the number one priority. And given the fact that Minnesota just re-signed Reed, who I know was on the Lakers list, it's even more likely that they match Rui Hachimura specifically. So I don't see that happening for the Houston Rockets. I think they're just trying to scare the Lakers and more so get them to overpay for a prospect that we have because they know we develop talent very well. And even if LeBron leaves, we can get a good return and then we can build something just as good as what they have. Meet their timeline and be the other team on the other side of the Western Conference when they're trying to dominate. So that's my little theory. I think they're trying to keep the Lakers down. They want to make the Lakers overpay for stuff that they have to further destruct our rebuild. I don't think the Rockets necessarily know what they want to do because when you talk about targeting Rui Hachimura, when you have the problem that I just described with the forwards that they have, either you're trying to reimagine your forward position, which is ill-advised because all them dudes can play and will be the futures. But, it seems like the Rockets and Tillman Fertitta have an entirely different version of life for themselves that they want to see. They don't believe in youngsters, even though they have all of the youngsters that any team that wants to put together youngsters would ever want. So my thing is, as a Laker fan, I would, if they want to get old, bro, and they want to give me a handful of those kids, I would be more than happy to give them our core. I ain't gonna lie to you, and let them put that core together with James Harden and see if they can ride out to the sunset and give me every last one of those kids. And I promise you, we will do more with them than they will do with them. I promise you that. And so that's my thing, because I honestly don't know what the Rockets are doing. They have the type of team that I would want, and it seems like they want to turn into us or Phoenix or something, and it's fine. They can totally do that with their franchise, but I just want to see those kids stay together. I want to see those core kids stay together. The Lakers mortgaged their future kids, got us a championship with Bron and AD. It was great, but their crop of kids is, like, with all due respect to ours, about 3 times better. So what you about to do in tearing that up is literally divvy out the league, the future all-stars that are all put together on your team. And so, let it be me that says it to Tillman Fertitta. This is extremely ill-advised, trying to go after James Harden and other free agents when you have the crop of kids that you do. You need to find a very, very easy and simple way to use your cap space rather than going after other teams' players when you got what you got. Because not only do you have everything you should want, but you probably got too much of it. And so you don't need to be using cap space for anything. What you need to do is start extending the players that you know you want to keep. Green, Sengun, they need to be extended. The ones you know you're going to keep. If you know for sure you want to use Amen Thompson going forward, maybe you want to extend him into a rookie contract that better suits what he's going to be 3 years from now, depending on if you believe in the shot coming. Terry Eason, I would lock these players up because some of these dudes, you're going to want them on affordable contracts so that they're more easy to trade. Because if they're still on rookie contracts, they're extremely affordable. But like I said, you got to figure out another way to use your cap space. And right now, you're about to make mistakes. You're about to overpay for people, do all kinds of stuff that's going to ultimately force you to lose some of those kids that you're not going to want to lose. And that's what I know. Some of them you're going to want to be your role players, and you're not going to be able to keep them. And it's going to be because of stuff like this. You want to go after Austin Reeves. You're going to have to pay crazy money for Austin Reeves. That is Smith's money. That's Cam's money. That's Porter, if you're going to keep him, I don't know, you probably not. Amon's money, it's all these youngsters. So if you're going to go older and want to get into the Dame sweepstakes, the Bron sweepstakes, if that's what the Houston Rockets have envisioned for themselves, then salute to them for being stupid. I am more than happy to move to you, my old guys, because my old guys are going to be nice and gone 3 years from now while your players are all representing the Western and Eastern Conference respectively. So I have seen that movie before as a Laker fan. I watch all these kids, Juju and all these guys, Brandon Ingram, and they all turning into what they're turning into. Caruso, all of them, all over the place. If the Houston Rockets want that to be their future, I am all for it. I'm all for it, man. I kid you not. I don't know if Houston fans would be happy with that, but if they want to relinquish all this athleticism, Amen Thompson, Green, Sengun, give them all to me. I will take every last one of them. Rob Pelinka, I'm sure we would make the best out of those young players. With the scouts that we have and the G League affiliates that we have, there will be no bust. None. They'll turn them all into stars. Because that's where I'm at with it. I'm looking at the Houston Rockets. I'm like, man, I'm tired of screaming at a wall as it pertains to player development and getting young talent and the flexibility that comes with that. These people do not want success. They do not like happiness. They want to destroy the best thing that you could possibly put together in this league and build something like what Phoenix did, which is literally the worst thing you could possibly do in this league. And it's like they want to follow the trend, and I'm with it. I am all for it as a Laker fan in Los Angeles, knowing what the future holds as it pertains to this city and how much money it can make from having talent like that in it. And the fact that we drained this whole thing with LeBron James for 6 years now? We got everything out of it we possibly could. Now's the time to cash out. Y'all know I know that. And if Houston is serious, dang it, we need to make a trade right now. Bron, we sending you to Houston, bro, because they want to relinquish young talent, it seems. They don't want to keep these kids. They don't believe in them, and I do. I'm telling you, that's going to be my move. Y'all ain't going to like me because I already know the future is where it's at. The Clippers need to be doing the same thing. If they serious about taking Paul George off you, he should already be in red. He should already be there. And take back Smith, take back any of them. All of them, anybody that they would be willing to give you, they're all very good anyway. It don't matter. Just take them all back. Tate, Garuba, take them all back. Christopher, take them all back. Because at the end of the day, they don't need to be in Houston anyway because they don't necessarily have an owner that wants them there. Just being honest. Because all these rumors I keep hearing about them point at them disrespecting the overall idea of youth and athleticism. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, the things they're saying they want to do. And so for me, as a Laker fan, they really want to take Austin Reeves. They really want to take Rui Hachimura. Fine. Give me kids for them. Give me Cam Whitmore. We probably should have drafted him anyway. Give me the other jumpy kid, Martin. Since y'all don't like athleticism, give us him. Y'all don't really believe in Amen Thompson's jump shot, do you? Okay, cool. Bring him here. Bring these kids to us. We will use them better than the Rockets. That's what I got to say, man. That's what I gotta say. Because where I'm sitting, what the Lakers are trying to do is build youth around LeBron so that when LeBron leaves, we can usher in more stars. And the stars we're likely going to target at that time are probably the ones in Houston. So I think just give me them early. And push come to shove, if they're not the ones we're trying to target, then we could trade these kids for those people. To likely be more valuable than what we have right now at that time. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with it. No, these teams want to get older. Cool. Suit up. All the dudes from my era. That's fine, man. Bring them all back. That's what it is. But give me the youngsters that's going to usher us into the future. And my timeline will be intact because I'm going to do good things with them. As they get older, I'm going to pick and choose the right ones and then trade them. The ones I don't want, and get something for them. Continue to respect the draft. Keep myself in positions to get first-round picks every single year because everything I have is going to be valuable enough to get them. And if I have one or two of them fall to injury, I'm still going to be nice and plump because I'm always replenishing with new, young players. While y'all reaching for the old guys, I'm not doing that ever. Ever. The ones you don't want be the ones I bring in, and my scouts get the best of the understanding of the credit because they're going to be the ones that get the most use. We are using our scouts to find the people that you refuse to use. And at that point, We will trade them for whatever increasing value. They ain't got to turn into nothing better than too much better than they are. Just whatever increasing value they can be. And I'm shopping them dudes at the deadline in the off season for better ones, better twos, better whatever. You know what I'm saying? Everything I need. Because with the ever-changing market as it is, taking these huge chances, mortgaging your future for whatever moment in time's championship, if you don't capture that championship, you have pretty much put your team in the dumps for the next 4 or 5 years. Only to find yourself wanting to be tempted by such a thing every single year. And the moment you're going to want to pull the trigger on something like that the most, when you think it makes sense the most, you don't have what it takes to make that happen. Because you would have mortgaged your future in a different year. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, no, keep as much flexibility as humanly possible. Especially if you are a small market team. You're not a LA, New York. You need to be thinking like this. Because these free agents ain't flying to you. They don't want to play there. So you're going to need to get the kids in place with the culture in their hearts and have them plump and nice and paid and developing properly, man. Properly. And we know this league is dependent on fit. So if you're going to bring yourself all the best stuff, understand you are not going to be able to make the most of it. You better make sure what you have makes sense on the floor. And that is also a big part of it. You know, that pick and plug, you will have a system in place that you respect, like Miami. That way, whatever players you bring in should be able to either fit those roles or have themselves be outside of your circumstance and pick and plug from there. Because at the end of the day, when you don't have a system, that's the problem that goes on with the Houston Rockets. It's got a bunch of talented kids running around learning the wrong stuff, flunking around because they are trying to tank every year for the best talent. And they want to blame the coach for it. That's the type of stuff I'm looking at in Houston. I'm like, so you wanted to tank so you can get Amen Thompson and Cam Whitmore, but you fired the coach because the team wasn't doing good. How does that work? And you want me to continue to believe that they want the best talent when they're rumored to be taking rumored kids that, with all due respect to my kids, don't have the same upside as the ones they already got on their team that they're trying to basically get rid of. Like, I love Austin Reeves, but he don't have the same upside as some of their kids. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, what are they doing? What are they doing? You know what I mean? So I'm just at a point where I'm like, yo, as a Houston fan, if I were a Houston fan, rather, I'd be praying to God something changes the mind of Tillman Fertitta in regards to the things that he wants to do. Because all he really needs to do is nothing at all. Pay the people who are there, man. That is all you need to be doing. Make sure Sengun stays with you. Make sure you have the ones you believe in. And the ones you don't, feature them. Feature the ones you're not certain about. Feature the ones you don't love the most. Feature them, just like Detroit featured Bogdanovich. Feature the kids you don't want. And then move them to various teams that are willing to overpay for them. That is how you do it. Otherwise, moving the kids that you don't believe in to the back of the bench makes it so that they're unmovable. Now everybody knows you got players you're not developing properly. You know we ain't going to go get them for your price tag. No, they got to be desirable for us to want. So you got to pull like we did with Kendrick Nunn last year. You put him on the floor and you get the most out of him and you trade him as soon as people realize he can do a little more than what you've shown. That's how it has to be. Otherwise, everything you got decreasing in value. So that's what I have to say, man. Hopefully somebody's listening. That's my Rockets point of view. They have far too much small forward talent at this point to consider any of them dudes really certain to make the starting unit. You know what I mean? I see Cam Whitmore probably coming off the bench for Tate and the other kid, man, that we already mentioned. We just have too much. That's what it really comes down to. They literally have a lot more than they know what to do with. And so, for me, the solution's in place. On this video, we've talked about it several times. I don't think you get rid of Green, you know what I'm saying? Type of player he's going to be. No. So that's really what it comes down to. The athleticism they put together, Martin, Whitmore, Thompson, Green, it's far too advanced of natural ability to be disrespected in the way that it has been. That's what I'll say. It's far too much natural ability. People who can do things that far exceed a basketball floor. It ain't just shooting and rebound. No, these dudes can go out on an Olympic stadium and kill it out there doing other things. So that's the type of athleticism we're talking about they have. You see what I'm saying? So they got to value that. They got to get the most out of it and the most value out of it. So that's my talk on the situation. And I hope my Laker fan base understands how serious I am about this. It ain't about no disrespecting nobody. At this stage in the career of LeBron James, if he can net me anything big, it's in my best interest to consider it, man. It is. Because if he disappears, you know how much value that dissipates to becoming? If he retires in your uniform, which is something we support overall, because we love the idea of great players ending it here in the great hurrah, but that's not nearly as valuable as 9 and 10 different assets, 4 and 5 picks, 3 and 4 swaps, different players of under 23 that could possibly come back in a record-sized return for a guy like LeBron James. I just don't see myself opting for the optics of a wonderful hurrah in purple and gold when I know my rebuild can go so much better if I involve him in trade with a team like Houston. You see what I'm saying? That's just the reality of it. And then some of the teams he may want to go to, they don't have the assets. They don't. But if I can get a team like Houston involved, or a team like Orlando involved, a team like OKC involved, that's the type of return that I think would get me the type of record return that I want. With young talent, tradable assets, future picks that can replace everything we lost in Anthony Davis's trade. That's the type of stuff the Lakers should be considering right now. It really is. It ain't about whether or not we can win the championship this year. With all due respect to all the championship chasers, I want a ring this year too, but there is greater reward for capturing LeBron James's value. There's just greater reward, man. You can put yourself in a position to have a chance to be a contender for 10 years if you do this correctly. You know, you can chase a ring, and that could put you in the dumps for 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what do you value? What do you value? Lakers. That's what I tell every fan. What do you value, man? Because if you're a Laker fan and you want this thing not to be bad for the next 6-7 years, then we got to consider what's going to give us a future, man. And bringing guys like Max Christie and Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, those are great complimentary guys. But if you don't have star-level players, you're going to be in trouble. And what we're going to have when LeBron James leaves is no star-level players. Anthony Davis probably going to leave. So it's like, what are we doing? What are we really doing? Do we have a plan for this? That's what I'm asking my team specifically. Do we have a plan for this? Because I don't see one, I see us putting together players that are supposed to make this core thrive going forward. And my thing is, this core ain't even going to be together for much longer. So as we bring ourselves the Hood Shafinos, make sure you're going to bring a star in with him. You know what I mean? Make sure you bring these guys the type of young star that's going to align with their timeline. That's what I'm trying to say. These are role players that need core stars. And the guys they got are not going to be there for their full development. That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? A guy like Hood Schifino is going to be his best self 5 years from now. Who's going to be the star on his team at that point? Because if you tell me LeBron James, I'm telling you, go. You think that man's going to be still doing this at 44, 45 years of age? If that's what we're planning on, yeah, we're misguided right now. We're being misguided. So that's just what it is, man. It's going to be a lot of unhappy Laker fans hearing me talk like this. I am not really interested. I don't think that matters because I already know what you're going to be celebrating when our team is better. 3 years, 4 years from now, when the team still don't suck because we got ourselves a future, you're going to be very happy we did that. And that's why I know this should be done. That's why I know it. So, I don't know if Houston's interested in something like that, but I'm dead serious, man. I am dead serious. Because they bring themselves James Harden, and ain't no way James Harden going to play with a bunch of kids. The first thing he going to want y'all to do is get rid of some of them. And the second thing he gonna want you to do is bring him somebody like LeBron James or Kevin Durant or something like that. Nah. And it ain't about whether LeBron James could help us. Of course he could help us. He can always help any team. He could, at 45 years of age, step back on the court, probably help a team. That's not the point. It's whether or not I want him leading us or think he should be leading us as our number one or number two next to AD. At this point, I like the idea of keeping the continuity. Again, none of this has to do with me not liking guys or thinking they could play. It's just about what is our timeline and how are we building this thing. We're building this thing like we're going to have LeBron James in place 5 years from now. And I don't see no more LeBron Jameses out there. You see me? I think guys were really legitimately afraid of bringing in Cam Whitmore and disrespecting LeBron James. And I get it, because that is a player who probably is his size, going to try to attack the rim in ways that he would have back in the day. You know, you're going to ask him to do a lot of LeBron James stuff. He's probably not going to develop the right way because you got Rui in place. Maybe you got to move on from Rui because you're bringing in Cam. It's a lot of stuff that I think the Lakers had right in picking up Jalen Hood-Schifino. And I like Jalen Hood-Schifino, but his upside is not Cam Whitmore, and that's the problem. That's the only problem with all of this. Is I'm looking at the Houston Rockets and I'm saying, they got so much more talent, as we've already discussed, just by inheriting that particular draft pick. And while I think it wasn't really responsible for a lot of teams to take him, certain teams like Orlando, Miami, they shouldn't have let him pass. They are a lot more egregious for letting him pass them up than the Lakers are. We had legitimate reasons up and down the board. All of it made sense for what it is that we had agreed upon to build around LeBron James. I think the problem is that agreement. We stuck to the plan, and we happy we did, but the plan, was it the right one? And when I look at his timeline and I look at the upside of Cam Whitmore, and I know the draft just passed, and I know we would not have done that. Unless we were damn certain that this was the right piece for us, which he is, Hood-Schifino, for what we're doing. So it's like, all right, what are we doing? Do I like what we're doing? I hope I like what we're doing. If Anthony Davis and LeBron James play more than 67 games, I like what we're doing. So it's like, all right. And if they prove me wrong and then come into the next season healthier than they're going into this season, having us won a championship or gotten to the Western Conference Finals again, I feel pretty good going into that season saying, yo, hey, they exceeded my expectations. They look like all-stars. They bounced back big. LeBron shot better. All these different things from this coming season. I will feel even better. Bron going into year 22, if he shows me in year 21 he's better than year 20, hey, keep the good times rolling maybe. Maybe I'm thinking like that. But I'm telling y'all, with them foot injuries, guys not really being able to play in altitude, just flat out running out of gas, and I'm thinking they're getting older. They flat out ran out of gas, and I'm thinking Denver's going to be just as good next year, and they're probably going to be the team we're going to have to beat in their house in a Game 7 or something of that nature. And if them dudes didn't have no gas this year, how the hell are they going to have gas next year? Body don't replenish like that. That's not how this works. So for me, it's like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Am I hoping Denver's not there in the end? Is that what this is? What about Utah? They got altitude too. Am I hoping Utah's not there as well? It's like, come on. Come on now. You trying to tell me you didn't want to bring down a guy like Cam Whitmore who could dunk on anybody in any arena out of bed? I mean, have you seen what this man could do? You see how much ferociousness he attacks the rim with? And you trying to tell me you would rather have Jalen Hood-Schifino? Like, it comes down to that, man. Even though you don't want it to, it comes down to that, because he was the 5th best player in the draft on most people's draft boards, and we let him slide for a point guard who's pretty solid, but as I do more homework on him, rather flawed. Jalen Hood-Schifino is rather flawed, man. His upside is not star. It's role-playing point guard with starters upside. I'm telling y'all, he's not even dunking the ball, y'all. He don't even dunk the ball. And that's not a bad thing, but it's like this is what this is who you're comparing him to when you consider who you left on the board. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, look, I get it. I made the argument and still agree with the argument that as so long as the plan has been agreed to, we've done a good job sticking to the plan. The problem is the plan left us taking someone other than Cam Whitmore at 17, and that, my friends, is a bad plan. That's what that is. I'm just telling y'all the truth. And for y'all telling me he's a more sure bet than Cam Whitmore, I probably agree. Because if Cam Whitmore was a sure bet, he definitely wouldn't have fallen. So I definitely agree. That does not speak to the level of players that we are comparing them to. That does not speak to Cam Whitmore not being better than Jalen Hood-Schifino on this day. Now that can change. And with Jalen being a sure bet, that could mean he could be a longer pro, a better pro, all of that. And that means a lot when considering building a basketball team. But I can be more sure about a role player becoming a better role player than maybe a star level youngster becoming a superstar. So therefore, my words, you see what I'm saying? That's what that actually means when Rob Pelinka says that, and that's why I'm trying to help people understand that I don't think Rob Pelinka thinks anything less than what I said. I just think that Rob Pelinka is doing his job according to the plan that he's been told to follow. And what I'm telling you is maybe if that plan had a bit more freedom in it to just take what makes the most sense just in general without fit needing to be necessarily equipped in the conversation, which is something the NBA has in place outside of individual teams' control, because you need to make sure you have fit based on how you have to, everything with the cap. I get it. But at the end of the day, man, I cannot see myself leaving a guy like Cam Whitmore on the table for a guy I know don't have the upside he does. When I know I need to be rebuilding post-Bron 3 minutes from now. And I also know I don't have a pick next year. I know that. So a guy like that with that type of value falls to me and I don't take him, I got to have conversations like this. I must. We must. I would be responsible not to, especially when I look at who inherited him and how much they now have. And they trying to poach two of our players right now. And they got more leverage to do so because of the presence of the player that we left on the board. And so I'm telling y'all, I know that we did the right thing. But I also know that the right thing was pointed the wrong way. Because ain't no way in hell you're supposed to let Cam Whitmore fall past you if you're the Lakers at 17. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to. You're not supposed to. And while we got a bunch of value out of our 40th pick and proper value from our 17th pick, which is why we did a good job. We didn't do a great job because we didn't take the falling great potential player that could be a franchise changer for us in the event that LeBron James is in some type of danger with his health. If we lose Rui Hachimura, you don't even care because Cam Whitmore is going to be right there. I like that part of it. I don't necessarily love them on the same team, but if he does end up leaving us, yeah, that is another thing. And the problem is, here's the problem. Because I've done homework on Jalen Hood-Schifino, I don't believe he's my future point guard. That's the problem. See, if I thought I inherited my future point guard, like the dude, if I thought I got, okay, I'm good, then I'm cool. But I know that he's either going to move down when the guy I want comes in, or I'm going to move him out for the guy I want. So I don't know that he's much better than D'Angelo Russell in regards to how we're viewing Jalen Hood-Schifino. I could very well trade him right now because I don't think his upside is really what it is I need him to be in order to be the point guard for the Lakers. And that is where it really becomes a problem. I didn't necessarily see it that way on draft night. Can't say I did. It's the now. It's the after homework that made me say, yeah. I mean, I like Jalen Hood-Schifino. I don't love Jalen Hood-Schifino, man. Not his game. It's really good, though. He has passing ability, mid-range jump. Y'all know I love mid-range jump shooters. And he could pick people apart with a mid-range jump shot all day long. He's going to have to get better in certain areas. He has a balance, so I know he's going to be aggressive defensively. And he's a pretty good free throw shooter, I believe. So I think that's going to translate to him being a sturdy point guard. But I'm expecting 16 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. You know what I mean? The elevator don't go up high. It don't go up high because he doesn't put a whole lot of pressure on the rim. He's not particularly great 3-point shooter, especially off the catch. We kind of need players who can catch and shoot. He doesn't do that. See what I'm saying? So it's like, I like he's a lot better defensively than some of them other dudes in the draft, in the range, the guards we could have got. He's a better defender than them. He's a better passer than them. He's more of a pure point guard than them, and he has size. So it's a lot of stuff you like, yep. But his weaknesses, when he starts trying to put pressure on the rim, you start seeing how little athleticism he actually has. You're like, oh. You start seeing he's 6'5", but don't really play like he's 6'5", play like he's 6'1", kind of when he's starting to lay the ball up, like, oh. And most of the time, he's looking for the mid-range. He's looking for it. While I think he can attack from there, I love that. Especially if he develops it to his highest level, he can pick apart people in ways that most point guards refuse to. Take on less punishment because he's more comfortable from that mid-range area too. So he's less likely to take on injuries because he's not trying to take the punishment. But at the end of the day, we're going to get frustrated because some of them going to rim out. Some of them mid-range shots, we're going to be like, bro, put the ball on the floor. And he's not going to. He uses it as a jab and as a fantastic passer straight ahead. So we have a sturdy point guard. But I'm telling y'all that his upside, he's more like Derek Fisher in terms of what you expect him to be, rather than like some type of Allen Iverson, some type, you know what I mean, John Moran. Nah, you picked up your next sturdy point guard, which is why I'm saying you want to bring these guys a star. You want to make sure that the star is in place. And if LeBron James is the star that you have, then you know your star is going to be gone soon. So what is your intention? Because he's not going to turn into that. You got a role player. You know what I'm saying? So we took a role player with 17 and left a star on the board. Cam Whitmore, his upside, 5 or 6 all-star appearances. 5 or 6 all-star appearances if he reaches his highest level, because he's going to dunk the ball on everybody he can shoot and he can defend. All he needs to learn how to do is you have vision and pass the ball around. And for those who are worried about his medicals, look at him when he plays. He is in better shape than most human beings, man. You can't tell me his medicals are crazy. What is it? Broken foot? Let it heal. The dude's jumping out the gym, man. Damn near Zion Williamson. Are we sure we made the right decision because it was the proper decision? No, it wasn't the proper decision because you left a literal beast on the board and you took a nice role-playing point guard. I know better. I absolutely know better. I knew better that night. All of it made sense, and I still don't like it because nothing makes more sense than getting the best player available when you know your rebuild is 3 minutes away. Nothing at all. Not the sure bet point guard that's going to help make everybody happy who's going to be here for 5 more minutes, but the guy who's going to replace the people who are going to be here 5 more minutes. I know it, and I ain't going to shake it, even though it makes sense. You got to make that make sense because that's going to be more valuable. And not a Rockets album. So that is what I have to say about that, man. Somebody needed to tell the truth about the other side of the story in regards to that Cam Whitmore, Jalen Hood-Schifino pick. Somebody had to tell the truth about the other side of the story because it's a lot of people who are pleased with that pick because it's kept up with the plan that is a flawed plan, capped underneath the damn championship. And that is why I hate this plan right now because I know damn well it ain't better than Jokic. That plan ain't better than what Jokic is going to have out there. And we need to be real about that. So that's why I'm like, look, man, what's up with the Rockets? y'all want to help us make that right? You know what I'm saying? Since y'all trying to take our power forward and our point guard, how about you give us a bunch of yours? You don't want them. You don't respect them anyway. Give them to us. You want Austin Reeves? Give me Green. Because that's what Austin's actually worth. Yeah, I know y'all don't see it that way, but I know what he's going to become. So, and you do too. That's why you're trying to take him. So give me somebody that's worth more than him now. Give me Green. You know what I'm saying? Y'all trying to take Rui Hachimura? Give me Cam. Give me Cam. Because they can't coexist. They basically the same player. That's why the Lakers passed on him. So if you're going to take him from us, you got to know that before you sign him. You're going to sign him to an absorbent amount, and then you're going to find out all them forwards can't play together. Joke's on you. So these are the type of things I already know is coming. Houston, Houston, you don't have a problem, but if you start doing what the owner want to do, you about to have some. So that's what I want to tell people, man. I blended these two teams together because they have what I want as a Laker fan, and I'm pretty sure we have something along the lines of what Tillman Fertitta wants, since he wants his team to be a bit more mature. I'm all for it. So that's what I gotta say, man. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.